Well, hi everyone. Welcome to the New England Racing Show, Manchester, New Hampshire, Channel 23. Also on YouTube, and like us on Facebook. It'll come up on your Facebook page automatically. Well, this week we have a special show for you, this week and next week. We have the Bullring Bash from Lee Speedway, the great open modified show that just took place past Sunday, Mother's Day. 34 mods showed up, 26 started. And here's the cars just before the start. Matt Galco, Matt Swanson, Todd Anarumo, Tommy Barrett, Todd Ceravello. Oh, let's see, is this the 99 Savory, 73X, Andy Janko Black. I'm sorry, I butchered that one up. There's Mike Douglas Jr., Todd Segedy, John McKennedy, that's Josh Cantera. That's a southern one, Spencer Davis, Ryan Priest, and Old Blue. I think that's Matt Hirschman, Jimmy Dolan, John Kay, and Stevie Massey. And there's a beginning, Jeff Rocco on the pole, Dennis Perry, and they're doing their parade lap, getting ready to take the green. It was a perfect day for racing at Lee.
Bullring Bash 100, the race we've all waited for, is getting set to go. One more time around.
That's Chris Pastriak, second row inside. And second row outside was Anthony Nacella, the 92. Of the best modifieds in the Northeast, and a couple from down south. We had Race of Champions cars, Valente mods, Star mods, and Wheeling Tour. They did treat the corners of the track to give more grips, and it did allow for a lot more side-by-side racing. Jeff Rocco didn't waste any time. He's got the hammer down right from the beginning. And that's Matt Galco fighting in for the lead. And with fighting with Chris Patriak. Matt's an SK from Stafford. The youngster, I think he's about 23 now. We raced quarter midgets with him, and he's a good driver. Well, they're all good drivers here, pretty much. Stevie Massey had to take a provisional. He had bad luck in his heat. Then he ran the Consi, and he had bad luck there, getting wrecked. So they gave him a provisional, and his crew worked real hard to get the car ready for the future. They had lap money here too. I believe it was a $50 a lap. It's a 100-lap race, so there's $5 grand right there if you lead every lap and win, which is pretty much impossible to do, seeing as how the tire situation at Lee. A lot of guys kind of like laid back just a little bit and saved their tires. You were allowed one tire change, which was pretty much a right rear, as pitting came a little later. But this isn't like the Valente where you can just pretty much ride around real slow. With the pace they were setting, you had to keep from getting lapped, that's for sure. So we concentrated on the middle here, the middle pack, which was a lot of side-by-side racing. It's nice to see mods going side-by-side at Lee. There's the leaders. Jeff Rocco, Matt Galco, Chris Pastriak. Yeah, I hope those two aren't using their tires up right away. A 40 car, Matt Swanson, a Star Modified. The kid's 14. And here he is. That's Todd Zegedy. Managed to save it. But Matt Swanson's racing with the big guys and doing pretty darn good. There's 21, Dennis Perry leading that pack. Mike Douglas is in there, John McKennedy in the white 73. Inside of him is Tommy Barrett, Valente champ, now racing the Wheeling Tour. But that's his Valente car that he had with him today. They had a pretty good crowd. I mean, it wasn't a packed house, but, you know, maybe because of Mother's Day, but it was a very good crowd. And I'm sure they got their money's worth. This was a pretty wild race, especially at the end. There's a 73 Andy Jankulik. '79 Spencer Davis showed up from Dawsonville, Georgia, racing the Southern Wheeling Tour. So that's quite a haul. Lap 21 right there. No yellows yet, although there'll be plenty later. There's the leaders again, Rocco, Pastriak, and Galco. They're starting to catch the tail end of the field. I don't know if Jeff Rocco saw the lap money and he figured he'd be in starting on the pole, he'd lead as many laps as he could, which was real smart. And pick up a lot of lap money, even if he doesn't win the race. $50 a lap, that's pretty good. Hirschman in there. Jimmy Dolan. Josh Cantera. Josh is a Star modified. There's Old Blue with Ryan Priest, blue number 3. I believe that's a Wheeling car, Wheeling Tour car. Some said that the Valente modified cars had a little bit of an advantage here at Lee. I'm not sure how they even the cars out as far as tour cars versus Race Champion and Valentes, but there'll be 2 others, the Star SBM 125. Well, here's the first yellow. And we're looking around to see where the yellow's coming from. Lap 30. I think somebody spun out, but they managed to keep it going, so we couldn't see where the yellow was from. 12 is Todd Anarumo, another Valente car. I think he's in 4th place right now. Rocco, Pastriak. Todd Saravallo up there in the white car. There's Matt Galco up there still. Anarumo in 4th, Saravallo behind them. Really dicing it out, back and forth. Almost got Rocco, but couldn't quite do it. Just great car control. I mean, you didn't see smashing and banging here like you do in the Cup Series. It's more like Indy cars where they have precise car control. I mean, these guys are such good drivers. Ryan Priest is at the tail end of that field, and he's smart. He's saving his tires a little bit because he knows that things will change with the pit stop. The guys that are burning up their tires now are going to fall back. And like I said, Jeff Rocco is getting the lap money, and these other guys are just trying to stay with him, which may not be the smartest thing to do. Because they're not getting any lap money and they're just burning their tires up. But even the guys that are saving them, they're not really far off the pace. There's Pastriak trying it on the inside. Rocco had the momentum. I wonder why the Myers guys didn't come up from Carolina. And we missed a few, you know, Mike Stefanik, Ted Christopher. I'm surprised we didn't see them in the pits. Pretty much everyone else was there. This show was put on by Jim Schaefer, the Long Island modified maniac. He doesn't run any series or anything, just a big fan, and took a chance and put this thing on with the help of a few people. Dickie Williams. There we go. Oh, yellow. And someone went around on the back stretch. Is that Matt Swanson, I believe, in the pits? Starting with the pit stops now. That's Todd Annarino, Cervallo, Galco, Anthony Nacella, John McKennedy, Tommy Barrett in the black 9 behind McKennedy, 21 Perry, Mike Douglas Jr., Segedy, Savory there. But Dick Williams, longtime racer and now a fan, was good enough to put up the purse for the small block supers. So we owe a big thanks to him for doing that, and for Jim Schaefer for putting this show on for us. It's not easy to take a chance like that, but he promoted the heck out of this race. It's the Tri-Track Modified Series. This is the first race. The second one will be the SBM at Star in June, and the third one will be at Seacont in July. So be sure to make those two races. The SBM at Star we made last year, and it was just a treat. Star's a little smaller than Lee. Lee's 3/8 of a mile, Star is a quarter, so they really, that's a real bull run. Here's the restart. Some of the front runners are in the back now. That's Anthony Nacella. Must have made a pit stop. Annarino in the lead. Halfway, 50 laps. Pastriak fell back. He made a pit stop. McKennedy with him. Matt Galco in the 25 is still hanging in there near the front. There's Mike Douglas Jr. right behind him. Mike won a Valente race a couple of Oktoberfests ago. Really impressive. Drove from the back and just picked cars off one by one and ended up winning the race, which I wouldn't say was a shock, but it was just pretty neat to see someone drive through the pack like that. That wasn't Ted Christopher or Mike Stefanik. Mike's father, Mike Douglas Sr., was a super modified star for many years at Star Speedway. So he's got a good pit crew there. Saravello. Tommy Barrett's up there in fourth. You know Tommy's going to end up in the front eventually. Mike Douglas Jr. Just a lot of dicing going on here. 25, Rowan Pennock takes over the lead. Rowan's making a strong run today. We got Area Auto. We saw him upside down at Stafford Speedway, sliding down the track, so he's doing a lot better today than he was that night. But he's a top runner. I believe he was last year's Valente champ. And there's so many good names here that you don't just have one standing out. You've got a bunch of them. Saravello. And there's Ryan Priest right up front. Knew that would happen eventually. Ryan's another quarter midget. I want to say kid, but they're not kids anymore. Stevie Massey right there. Another quarter midget kid. So it's Ryan, Steve Massey. Got Todd Segedy there. Right behind them. Here's the leaders. Rowan Pennock, Anarumo, Massey, third. Zegedy, Ryan Preece, and the 21, Dennis Perry. Right behind him, I think that's McKennedy. In the white 73. He's always right up there. He's an ISMA. Going for ISMA Championship this year. Super modified. Looks like Steve Massey ran down the leaders. Pennick and Anarumo. Stevie Massey's just such a charger. Him and Tommy Barrett. We watched him at the SBN last year. There he takes over second. And it was the Massey and Barrett show coming charging through the pack. Speaking of Barrett, there he is spinning on his own, which is highly unusual for him. I don't know what that's all about. But it brings out a yellow. And that's lap 75. So that's the first half of the race. We're going to show part 2 in the next episode. So it took 25 minutes to get through part 1, and part 2, the last 25 laps, was a long 25 laps. A lot of yellows, a lot of action, cars flying up in the air. We have it on tape too, so you won't miss that. And the Victory Lane celebration, which was pretty cool. So there were 34 mods that showed up. 26 started. They had a Consi. They ended up having a B main, and there were a few that 8 had to go home, but they'll be back. And we just had the cream of the crop there. It was just a beautiful day, about 78 degrees, no humidity, which was a lot different than the day before, Saturday, which was a practice day. We were there with our super. And it was raining in the morning and then humid, so this was just a perfect day. But anyway, we'll see you next week with part 2 of the Bullring Bash. And hope you enjoyed part 1. We'll be back with the finish next week.